Can I finish, Simone? Will you just shut up for a minute and let me finish?
Pardon me, sir. You don't get to tell me to shut up on national television.
We don't tell people to shut up on this show.
Welcome to today's cable news craziness, where we take a look at some of the craziness that takes place on cable news. Today, Steve Schmidt, a favorite of MSNBC. Why? Well, because he's one of the Lincoln Project guys. He's one of these Republicans who's resisting Donald Trump on Twitter and on MSNBC. Guess what? He thinks anyone that disagrees with the results of this election, you guys are just like Nazis. Roll it.
This was an assertion of right-wing political violence incited by the President of the United States. If we saw that in the 1930s in Italy or Germany, we would recognize it. They would have been wearing black and brown uniforms. We're at a dangerous hour in this country, and what it means is that there's a coalition that now exists that didn't exist in the past. But it's a pro-democracy coalition, and it has people on the left, in the center, some on the right, who believe still that the people in this country are sovereign, that we're a nation of the people, by the people, for the people, and the people decide who our leaders are. The leaders don't decide how long they get to serve. We decide. And so we now have a fundamental question in this country that's going to play out over many, many years ahead. And I'm very worried about it. And what I believe is the pro-democracy side of this coalition can never again lose a presidential election to the pro-autocracy side, because we may not have another election after that one. This played out as a farce, mostly over the month of November, except for the actual poisoning of the polity. It was a joke in a lot of ways, but it was a coup. It was a failed coup. And the way you get to a second coup in most countries is by having your first unsuccessful one. This is shameful conduct, dangerous conduct, and the country is in a dangerous hour, and unlike one we have ever been in before, because of the seditious activities of these Republican attorney generals and members of the House.
That's right, we would all be in brown shirts or black shirts, just like the Nazis, because that's what Republicans and conservatives are. You know, the bad ones. The good ones, like Steve Schmidt, are now saying they're Democrats, while spending the last election saying they are Republicans resisting from the inside. But come on, that gambit is now over, because if he actually says, okay, Donald Trump is out, that was my goal, and now I'm going to side with my Republican brethren and follow my principles instead of my personal animosity towards this one terrible orange person, then these folks on MSNBC would be done with him. And he can't have that. The grift has to continue on. So if that means calling people that aren't Nazis, or implying that everyone that disagrees with him is somehow a terrible, awful, no good person that has to be driven into the sea, then that is what this guy is willing to do. The thing that I take out of all of this, the thing that gives me solace, and the thing that makes me feel warm right here in this place where my heart should be, yeah, it's the fact that these people all hate Steve Schmidt as much as I do. That's right, they'll let him come on and they'll say, here's a good Republican. He's a Republican who believes like we do because he's a good one. But in reality, they hate his guts. They know he's a putz. They know he's a fraud, but he's a useful putz. He's a useful fraud, so they're going to use him as much as they possibly can, and he just gave them the ability to use him even more. Because now he says, I'm not a Republican anymore, I'm a Democrat. I've decided that all the things that I believed about taxes and foreign policy and the Second Amendment and abortion and immigration and all these other things, oh yeah, I don't believe those things anymore. Now I believe a completely different thing. Give me money. Some people are like this, and some people stick to their principles. I'm one of those that sticks to my principles, whether I'm opposing Donald Trump on something or if I'm siding with him. It's not about where Donald Trump stands. It's about where I stand. And eventually, American politics needs to understand that Donald Trump will not be forever, and you need to have some principles and stand by those principles. I don't know. Call me crazy. Call this cable news craziness. But come on back tomorrow and watch another clip. All you got to do is like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment. And like I said, come on back tomorrow. Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my good friend Matt Curtis and the Matt Curtis Real Estate Team. Now, Matt Curtis has been a friend of mine for a long time, but he's been my realtor longer than that. He has done a great job for me. He has bought and sold homes. One time he sold a house so quickly that I was standing in the living room with my wife and I said, where are we going to live? We sold our house so quickly we didn't even have a place to live. Matt Curtis solved that problem for me as well. Matt Curtis is that amazing. So learn more about Matt Curtis and the Matt Curtis Real Estate team by going to mattcurtisrealestate.com. Check them out today and tell them Dale Jackson sent you.